जय राम कृष्ण गोविन्द जनार्दन अच्युत परमानन्द जय राम कृष्ण गोविन्द जनार्दन अच्युत परमानन्द अच्युत परमानन्द नित्यानन्द मुकुन्द अच्युत परमानन्द नित्यानन्द मुकुन्द जय राम कृष्ण गोविन्द जनार्दन अच्युत परमानन्द जय राम कृष्ण गोविन्द जनार्दन अच्युत परमानन्द कंसाध्वंसा कालियनट सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We were studying the topic consummation of life. We studied that the self is one in all living beings. The body, mind, intellect is all different. We are all different, not because the self within is different, but because the body, mind, and intellect are all different. Now, since we are a combination of the self and the body, mind, intellect, this combination gets a choice. Okay, the combination gets a choice. Should I identify with the self or should I identify with the body, mind, intellect? Identifying with the body, mind, intellect means that your thoughts are rushing towards it. Your thoughts are rushing towards it means you are trying to use the body, mind, intellect as a source of pleasure. So we do things with our body which will give us pleasure. We do things with our mind, which will give us pleasure. And we do things with our intellect, so that will give us pleasure. But the whole problem is, this is the wrong way of doing it. So this pleasure, this happiness that we would like to have, we do not get. And if we do get that pleasure, the consequence of it is that we just get bored with it. We don't think anything of it anymore. So whether you get it or you don't get it, the end result is going to be exactly the same. This is very difficult to understand. So difficult to understand. Because we're craving to get that thing so much. And I'll tell you this incident. Once I was witness, very unfortunately, to a very bitter quarrel between a husband and wife. Very, very bitter. And they were really mad at each other for whatever reason, irrelevant at the moment, but very bitter quarrel. And then as I was leaving the building, there was a boy there walking with his mother, from the lower income group, the luxury building. I was walking out of that building, and there was a young boy, lower income family, with his mother. She's holding his hand and taking him. He must have been 7, 8 years old. He looked at that luxury building, luxury complex, and he's so fascinated by it. You can imagine, no? It's so different from whatever chawl or hutment or whatever it is he lives in. And he's looking at it with such fascination, like longing, He said, turned to his mom and he's saying, will we also be living there in a house like this sometime? And this strange thing, had just come out of this bitter quarrel, crying, sobbing, weeping. I don't know what is going on. And somebody else is looking at that and saying, if I had that, I would be so happy. We don't get it. Still we will crave, still we will want, still we will say that if only I had this thing, I will be happy. It just doesn't occur to us that even if you do get that thing, there is no guarantee of happiness. Absolutely not. As you all know, right? You got all the things you wanted. You didn't get some of the things you wanted. But what really is the difference? Both have brought us to the same point. So when we think of our body, mind, intellect, what does that actually mean? We don't do a japmala, body, body, body. We don't do that. What are we doing? We're doing things with our body in the hope that, okay, if I eat this mango, I will be happy. If I go to this movie, I will be happy. If I hang out with my friends, I will be happy. I feel like lockdown is such a horrible thing on I can't meet anybody. But you were earlier meeting everybody. Were you very happy then? You were going to work earlier. Were you very happy then? I mean, don't we even get it? That it is not these things at all. Absolutely not. If you can't be happy where you are and how you are, there is no place we are going to find that happiness. It's right here, right now, or not at all. So, how do you find it right here, right now? That's what he's trying to tell us. That there are two aspects of us. There is the body, mind, intellect. There is the self. Move your thoughts to the self. Now, ये दूसरी परेशानी होती है. Now, how to move my thoughts to the self? That is a big problem. So, when he says self, you have to immediately understand it as anything that is higher for you. Each one of us, it will be a different thing. That's why there are no instructions in Vedanta, right? We all have a bundle of desires. In fact, we are a bundle of desires. Nothing else to us. We're just a bundle of desires. Now, the kinds of desires we have are of different stature, let us say. We have some very negative desires, we have some mediocre desires, and we have some good desires. Each one of us is like that. So from our bank of desires, we have to find the highest desire, the most valuable one, the one which according to you is the best one, but is still realistic for you. That desire is your goal, that desire is your ideal, that is the desire you will emphasize in your life. So it could be anything. It could be the self, it could be self-development, it could be a higher cause of some other nature, it could be some goal. It could just be a goal, it may not even be unselfish, it's a goal. But whatever thing, according to you, is your highest but realistic desire, that's the one you focus on. And that's what you understand every time he tells you, think of the self. Because it is that desire which is going to take us to the self. It is that which is going to pull us up. Because once you're able to identify with that desire, remembers the nature of the mind. Tell me the nature of the mind. What is the nature of the mind?
It will get attracted to whatever it focuses on.
Yes. What else is the nature of the mind?
Flips into past and future.
Okay. What else?
Heterogeneity. Heterogeneity.
What?
Heterogeneity.
Unstable and restless, moving from one thing to another, fluctuates.
Okay. All that. What else?
Heterogeneity.
I can't hear you.
Heterogeneity.
Heterogeneity. Okay. Shilpa?
If one desire gets fulfilled, then we'll crave for another desire.
Very good. It is the nature of the mind to ask for more. So if you have taken it to any higher desire, what will your mind do?
Get focused.
Stays away from the lower.
Ask for more.
It will ask for more. Thank you, Deepika. It will ask for more. So if you keep directing it to the higher, its nature will propel it towards the higher. Then you need not worry after that. But if you allow it to go to the lower, its nature to ask for more will propel you towards the lower. So if you send it to money, it will want more money. If you send it to, oh, who loves me and who doesn't love me, it will go to, who loves me and who doesn't love me. If you send it to just getting more information, then it will continue to want more information. So the trick here is send it to the higher, because its own nature will then make it ask for more in that direction. And then slowly, slowly, you go closer and closer to the self. So you have to not go against the mind. You don't have to fight the mind, but you can use its nature for your evolution. You don't have to say, oh, my mind is so silly, though I have to go on criticizing it. Understand what it is and send it and use that power. It's like wind. You direct wind, your ship goes to if your sails are good, your ship will go fast. But if you don't direct it, that same wind will kill the ship and its inhabitants will dash it against the rocks. Right? So we are made of matter and spirit. Our thoughts go to the matter and not the spirit. When they go to the matter, we start getting very dissatisfied in life. The solution is send it to the spirit. Send it to the spirit means go closer and closer to the self, to God. As you keep doing that, you will find everything merges into oneness. That which you thought was all diverse, that which you originally saw as all different, as heterogeneous, you begin to see it as the one thing. You understand others, you understand yourself, you understand life, you have a charitable disposition towards everybody, because you understand that everyone has a mind, isn't it? When I am possessive towards my parents, I see that as a good thing. And if somebody is possessive towards their parents, I see it as a bad thing. If I cannot tolerate anybody speaking badly about my mother, then why do I think somebody else will tolerate that? Especially my spouse. We have no problem in telling people how bad their parents are. Will we listen to how bad our parents are? You begin to understand the oneness, right? You begin to see it. You begin to see that that which motivates me is that which motivates everybody else. Everybody has their own desires, and everybody wants to fulfill their desires. It's the most natural thing. So you begin to harmonize with people because you figure out what the other person's desire is and how you can help that person fulfill their desire. It's a very, very different way of living life. And hence, which chapter we're doing? Satatam. Remember in the Gita you hear Satatam. Always. It's a different way of living life. It's not a different thing you do. We can't color our life. Rang de chunariya. You know that famous song? Rang de chunariya. Let my chunariya be colored. Let everything be like this. Let it not go off this thing. Once you get there, you find the oneness. You find it all the time. In everybody and everything. Not in just a few people and a few things. Because now you're going to the very source. That's what he said. The sun is one. Its reflections are many. You see all the heterogeneousness as the reflections of the sun. But then you have to understand you are not that heterogeneity. You are that original oneness. Isn't this a nice way of living life? Why would we want to live in any other way? What is the other way getting us? It's only getting us strife and quarrel. And therefore, we have to take up systematic study to become that person. Systematic study doesn't only mean you arrive on Saturday class or only Friday class or you attend all 4 classes. That's not what systematic study means. Systematic study has to begin with a clear understanding of where you're heading. And what are all the various things you need to do to reach that point? That is why everybody is encouraged to participate in karma. Take up any activity and do it for the cause. As you do it, you will have to work with others. Now, when you work with others, all the heterogeneousness of the whole thing will come back to you. Well, deal with it. You know, when we were in the academy, there were just 15 of us in the first course in 1988. And so we are all kids. I mean, there'll be some petty quarrel here and there. And then Swamiji would not engage in any of that thing. So he would always say, if you cannot learn to live with the 15 people who are here, you will not be able to live with anybody in your life. So you go work out how you're going to manage this thing. And don't entertain anybody talking about anybody. It's we have to learn to live together. Because, you know, when we all work together, we have to work collaboratively, right? We collaborate with each other. Because nobody a boss over here. Nobody's going to give out instructions. You chose something. Few people chose that thing. They got together and became a team. Now it's their dedication, their capacity of cooperation. Do it or don't. If you do it, you get the results. If you don't do it, you say, oh, but this person is like that, and that person did that, and this person this. Okay, then you'll be doing it all your life because you haven't still figured out how to get it done. Sahu Menon. In the formula, spirit plus matter is equal to individual. Where does the world figure? The world is the what should I say? The sum total of all the individuals. What is our world right now? All of us put together in this class make a particular class. Any other class will not be like this because it will be made of different individuals. So all these individuals, all these combinations put together will make up the world. Okay?
Thank you.
Sarthak. Can't everything take us to the self, from cleaning bathrooms to charity? Yes, everything takes us to the self and nothing takes us to the self. So my question is, higher in what sense? Please define higher for the sake of precision in my notes. Okay. Higher means your goal or your ideal in life. If you're cleaning a bathroom, you must know what is the connection between cleaning the bathroom and whatever goal you have set for yourself. If you are doing charity, then you must know what is the connection between charity that you are doing and the goal that you have set for yourself. Doing it for the higher means remembering your ideal in and through all your activities. Remembering it means not like a parayan going on, but you're clear what is the connection between your current activity and the goal that you have set yourself. Okay, all good. Who will read the next paragraph? Anybody has a problem up to this point on this flow of thought? Nothing else, please. I hope you are all getting together and making the flow of thought as a group. All your groups are ready and you all are doing it. And if you are wanting to be in a group but are not yet in a group, then please get in touch with Alka. And if you don't know how to get in touch with Alka, then get in touch with Bharat and he will connect you. Okay. But everybody please be in the group so that we are following the line of thought very carefully. Like a bloodhound, you have to follow how a dog, a bloodhound will smell and not leave the chorka smell. Like that, you have to follow the flow of thought. Won't leave it. Okay. Who is reading the next paragraph?
Ma'am, I will read.
Please do.
Ma'am, it's not on the screen.
Don't you all have your books here? What happened, Satsang host? Who is Satsang host today?
Can anybody read it from the text? Omkar, we can take this off.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Sarthak, you have your book, right?
No, ma'am.
You don't have a book?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so somebody please read who has a book. Everybody
Shall I
please
read?
get the books. Yes,
Shall I
please.
read, Janki-ji?
Yes, please do.
People the world over do not realize their real worth, the absolute state of being that lies within them, the infinite happiness of the self. They have discarded the nectar of divinity within and are trying to find peace and happiness in the world. All the pleasures and joy derived from the world would not be worth a drop in the ocean of bliss within your own self. It is a blunder you commit in quoting outward objects and beings. Judas Iscariot sold Christ for 30 pieces of silver. So have you sold your Christ within for the shadows of pleasure and joy in the world? You ought to be wiser than that. Your own self has it all. Seek within. In the Vedic text, Upanishad, the Guru deplores this grave blunder of humanity. He cries out, he who does not realize the self here in his lifetime suffers the immeasurable loss.
So, can you identify, Suman, the sentence in this paragraph which encapsulates it?
All the pleasures and joy derived from the world would not be worth a drop in the ocean of the bliss of within your own self. It is a blunder you commit on quoting outward objects of beings. So don't look for things outside. Everything is within you, and one does not realize that the self happiness is within, and it's infinite. So you're searching for things outside.
Suman, you are only expected to identify one sentence, just one sentence.
The infinite happiness of the self is within.
Not perfect. Anyone else would like to try?
We've sold the Christ within.
Okay.
The sweet
Your
nectar.
your own self has it all.
He who does not realize the self here in his lifetime suffers immeasurable loss.
Okay. Aditi, what were you saying?
The sweet nectar of divinity lies within you. Seek it in your own self.
What is the most important idea?
Don't look for it outside.
Okay. What is the most important idea?
People do not realize their self, their real worth.
Very good. People do not understand their real worth. That's the blunder. Christ, you have Christ with you. You sold it for 30 pieces of silver. That means you don't understand. You don't understand it. It's like a child. He had a Kohinoor and he gave it away for 5 rupees. I must tell you this story, which in my family at least is always told about me with a great deal of humor. My mother gave me gold earrings to wear in school. One girl came with some plastic ring, the free plastic rings we used to get in cereal and all. And so she told me if I gave her my gold earring, she'll give me the plastic ring. So very enthusiastically, I removed my gold earrings, I gave it to her, and I took that plastic ring and I went home to face the consequences of this act. And this is really how we live our life. What are we giving up for what? So very good, Anita. People do not realize their real worth. We don't understand the worth of what we're dealing with. So this seek within is an instruction. Do not look out, instruction. Don't want to do this, don't do that. These are all instructions. Why are these instructions even necessary? Once you've understood, they create treasure. Where is the question of doing it in any other way? It's just not possible. And why do we not do it? We just don't understand the value. We will allow anything to disturb our class, isn't it? The maid comes, something happens. It can disturb the class, no problem. Why? Value is less. So many people tell me, oh, I love to come to your class, but my son has come from out of the country. Really? And when you go to his country, does he stop going to work because you have come? So what are you talking? That means to you, your class and your sadhana is not as important as his work is to him. Because he's not giving that up for you. So therefore, you begin to know the difference between an achiever and a non-achiever. He is achieving more at work. Why? Because he puts it above everything else. And you're not achieving in spirituality because you're not putting it above everything else. It's very simple. It's not that somebody is telling you to put it above everything else. The question is, what do you want? Sarthak, a question about the nature of the self. Is it peace or bliss? It is both. Peace and bliss are used synonymously. So, what is the important point here is we do not understand what we are giving up for what. How futile are the things we are pursuing when you don't need to. Absolutely don't need to. How silly, how childish, how innocent. But what word would you like to use? It all stems from not understanding the true worth. If you could understand what is the worth of Vedanta, why in your life would you want to do something else? If you do want to do something else, that means you don't understand its worth. So when you say that, then say, oh, am I not supposed to get married? Am I not supposed to earn money? Am I not supposed to? Arey Baba, you have to do all those things. Every human being has to do it. Every animal is doing it too. So don't tell me, oh, that to do so many things. Of course you have to do. It's like saying, oh, I can't study. You have to brush my teeth. Nobody's saying you don't have to brush your teeth. But hello, why is that interrupting your study? Oh, no, but you don't have to cook food. Of course you have to cook food. Every being has to eat. But why is that interrupting your study? Why is that interrupting your perception of life? That doesn't make sense, does it? But I have to earn money. Of course you have to earn money. If you don't have money, how will you survive? Obviously you have to earn money. So why is that interrupting Vedanta? Because at the end of the day, what is Vedanta? What is it? What is it?
Teaches you how to live.
What is it? Is it?
A manual for life.
Way of life.
A lifestyle.
Negation.
It is only changing your perception of things. Only that. That's all it is. Just change your perception. Now you have to work to change your perception. That work you please put in. Otherwise, how will your perception change? How will you see things differently? Vedanta is not telling you do X or do Y or any such thing. It's just telling you, please understand what are the important things, what are the urgent things, what are the things that are important and urgent, what are the things that are important but not urgent, and what are the things that are neither important nor urgent. Looking at your Facebook feed, for instance, may be neither important nor urgent, but how much time goes in that? How much time goes in important things? And why do we have urgent things? Because often we have neglected the important ones. I get a call every now and then from somebody or the other, oh, I'm so depressed, I'm so unhappy, oh, this happened or that happened, or I've come across this problem or that problem. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Give a little comfort, make a person feel good for that moment, so then they go back and they continue to do all the wrong things and will come to this position all over again. But I have no Kam Danda, so I do it. What else can I do? It's no point. The whole exercise in exercising futility. So what is this paragraph talking about? In one word. One word.
Self.
Self-worth.
Worth. That's right. Value. The value. Very difficult to communicate the value. You know, a brain surgeon told us this thing, that a person sometimes, they're a thief or a robber or somebody is trying to rob something from a person, and then they take the bicycle chain or something and hit it on the person's head, and the skull actually breaks, and there are pieces of that bone, whatever, skull lodged in the brain, and the person can get paralyzed. Obviously, there's pressure, so the person cannot move. So in an emergency case, it is brought to the brain surgeon. The brain surgeon does a surgery of maybe 5-6 hours, sometimes 10 hours. Extremely difficult surgeries, because they have to carefully pick each of those little fragments out of the brain so carefully, because if you do anything wrong, you're going to paralyze this person for life. So they keep removing those pieces, and very, very delicate operation, very, very precise, skilled operation, remove those pieces one by one, and then you sort of knock, how you do those reflex movements, you knock on the knee or the hands or something, and the hand moves, the leg moves, and then they know that things are okay. But there's a big gaping hole there, right? Because they had to cut the skull, they remove all that stuff. So to protect the brain, they put a plastic mold, just temporarily, because they have to make the final thing, right? So they temporarily put a mold and close it. No, sorry, they have to make the plastic mold, or they make a mold out of something to close it. But up till the point that they can actually make that mold, they have to still do something. So they just close it with something. Now think of the situation that person is in, right? The brain is actually exposed. It's only just covered, with skin. They tie it up or whatever, they stitch it up. And like now, if a pencil falls over there, it'll damage that person's brain. I hope you understand what it means to damage brain. That means you lose your functions. Okay, and these are poor people sometimes, and because they can't even afford hospital treatment, they are sent home with these instructions that it is an extremely dangerous thing. You are to be extremely careful. There is a hole over there. There is no skull there. It has only been sort of covered up. So after like a month, please come back. We will put that plastic mold, and then you're good to go. Then you do whatever you want. Okay, like imagine if such a person did Shirshas, and the whole brain will only come out. You have to be very, very careful. Can't do all these. Do you know what the surgeon said? He said about 60% of people don't come back. Can you believe that? They don't come back. Why don't they come back? Listen to their logic. They went to the doctor because they were paralyzed. They couldn't move their hands and feet. Right? The doctor took out all those pieces, and now they are completely all right. They can move, they can talk, they can do everything. They will say, oh, these doctors just want to make us spend money and waste our time. We won't go there. So the most important role the doctor plays there, what do you think is the most important role the doctor plays there? To communicate the value. Because what he has done for them, excuse me, they don't understand. And because they don't understand, they don't do that little bit that is required for the process to be complete. And though everything seems all right, there's a gaping hole there. And we are all in that position. Everything seems all right. We don't get it. There's still a gaping hole there. They'll say, I was so upset when I came to Vedanta. Now I feel all right. Everything is going very well. अब क्या वो same thing क्या बार-बार सुनना है? So what he is trying to communicate to us is the value of keeping to the path until the end is reached. Don't be satisfied that the hands and legs have started to move. It doesn't even count, because it can stop anytime. There's a gaping hole there. So people do not realize their real worth. They don't understand the value of the knowledge that will take them there. And so it always gets some kind of backseat in our life. Yeah, when I'm free, I'll do it. Now I'm very busy. If you're not doing Vedanta when you are busy, you will not do it when you are free. This is a commitment you've made to yourself, that I will study every single day, come what may. People will live, people will die, there'll be weddings, there'll be emergencies, there'll be no staff, there will be COVID, there will be Marriage in the family, there'll be your own marriage. I will study every single day. I will study on the day I have to go to my own wedding. Forget anybody else's wedding. And if you look at it like that, how can you not achieve? Whatever you have committed yourself to is what you're going to achieve. So everybody has to understand the value. That kind of commitment comes only when there's that kind of value. I don't care what is happening. I don't care that my returns have to be filed. I don't care that I have exams. I don't care whatever is to be done. I have made a commitment that every single day I am going to study, come hell or high water. I don't care what is happening. I will make time for it. Isn't that a very different way than to say, okay, today I'm too busy to do this? What do you mean you're too busy to do this? What is that sentence supposed to mean? You're too busy to go back to the surgeon and let him put his plastic mold? What's that even supposed to mean? What kind of ignorance propels our lives? What kind of ignorance? Oh no, I'm too lazy. I got too many things. I got this, I got that. The teacher understands. Value has not yet been communicated. Not yet been communicated. So we'll see over and over again. Swamiji always says this. You must have heard him also say it. The communication of this philosophy is very easy. Because the philosophy itself is very easy. Only 20% of the work in teaching is teaching philosophy. 80% of the work is in communicating the importance, the value, the need. What is Vedanta? In 5 lines, you can tell the whole of Vedanta. But it's no use. In 3 words, you can tell the whole of Vedanta. But it's no use. Because what we don't get is its worth, is its value. We don't get it. And everything else is water off a duck's back. So, what amount of commitment is there in each individual towards that will determine how far the individual goes. That's quite simple, right? And because that understanding of worth is not there, it is an immeasurable loss. Immeasurable loss. So here is a story to tell us this idea. Who will read the story?
Janki, I'll read.
Please do.
A prince went to a hermitage to pay his respects to a sage. He prostrated before the holy man. The sage promptly rose and prostrated to the prince. The prince was bewildered. He recoiled and pleaded, "O master, how could you do such a thing?" The sage asked in return, "Why did you prostrate to me?" "Because you are a man of renunciation," rejoined the prince. "You have given up this world which we are all running after. You have attained godhood." The sage softly inquired, "Which do you consider superior of the two, world or God?" "God, of course," the prince replied. "Then do you realize," continued the sage, "I have only renounced the world, but you have renounced God. Who has demonstrated greater renunciation?" So there is an element of humor in this, and sarcasm, of course, where the prince is a worldly person. He's worldly and he has renounced God in the sense that he's into material living. And there's a satire on that. So
just say the point, Brinda. What is the point of the story?
That we must try to seek the self instead of seeking the world.
The point of the story is the same as the previous paragraph. It is the worth. The sage understands the worth So he will follow what he finds more valuable. The prince doesn't understand the worth, so he follows what he finds valuable. But he can pay the lip service. He can say, which is greater, world or God? So everybody will say God. Oh, really? Do you really think so? Do you?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I know, Sarthak. Based on what we believe will be our action. So we need to first understand the relative worth of things. If you understand it, your life will change accordingly. Okay. Who will read further?
Ma'am, I will read.
Go ahead.
The prince woke up to the reality of life and soon realized the absurdity of worldly pursuits. So should you. Get up to the real source of peace and happiness within you. Realize the divinity of yourself. The entire world pales into significance. You will reach the state of enlightenment. William Cowper extols this state in his poem The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk. I am the monarch of all I survey. My right there is none to dispute.
So what's the point?
Ma'am, they're still trying to communicate that your own worth is greater, far greater than that of the world. And so you should seek this pursuit of enlightenment.
Okay, so your behavior will be according to whatever you find worthy, right? If you see what are you doing in your whole day, you will know what you have worth for. Look at it. What are you doing whole day? That will tell you what, according to me, is the most important thing. The most important thing is running my household. The most important thing is earning money. Not what we claim. What are you doing? The most important thing is that everybody should agree with me. Or the most important thing is I should be allowed to do whatever I want without anyone interfering. Or the most important thing is I should be as tamasic as I can get away with. If you see what you are doing, then you will know what you are. If you have made the commitment and you are studying every single day, not just say, yes, I must study every day. Pagal ho kya, like children. You understood what that means. I'm studying every day. Taking it almost like, yeah. Oh, yeah, I know I should study, but I really can't study. What kind of immaturity is that? When you get your study in possession, everything else will fall in possession. You will begin to see what is useful in life and what is not useful in life. Do you realize that every second of your life, whatever you have chosen to do, you have paid for it with your life? If you have fought with anybody, you paid for that fight with your life. If you have seen a movie, you have paid for that movie with your life. You know why? Because whatever time you spend doing that thing is never coming back. It's that action, whatever you took up, took you one step closer to the end. Everything that you chose to do or you chose not to do, you paid for it with your life. You say, I saw a movie. How much did that movie cost you? I paid 500 rupees and saw that movie. It cost me 500 rupees. Oh no, it cost you 3 years of your life. You're only seeing the money because money is making us valuable. Your life is not. What am I spending time on? Whatever it is I'm spending time on and giving my life to that thing. What would you like to give your life to? What is it you want to do with your life? What is that one worthy thing that your life should be dedicated to? It's a question you have to ask yourself. And whatever that answer is, follow it. And that is the way for us to be the most authentic, the most true to ourselves. Why would you give that up for some nonsense that other people are saying, doing, going, saying? So मैं क्या करूँ? तुम लोग करो ना जो करना है. The absurdity of the pursuit should occur to us.
मैम जैसे यू कैन कम्युनिकेट द वैल्यू ऑफ सत्व, बट मैम ये सेल्फ की वैल्यू कैसे कम्युनिकेट होती है, या फिर बियॉन्ड सत्व की वैल्यू मतलब कैसे कम्युनिकेट हो सकती है? वो तो मैम ऐसा लगता है कि मतलब वो पता नहीं क्या है ये सेल्फ, और मतलब क्या है वो ट्रांसेंडेंटल स्टेट. सत्व डिफाइन कर सकते हैं और सत्व के लिए भी मतलब गोल भी रख सकते हैं, बट सेल्फ के लिए मैम ये रखना गोल या फिर ये कहना कि मैं एनलाइटनमेंट परस्यू कर रहा हूँ, वो थोड़ा, या ये ट्रांसेंडेंटल स्टेट क्या कहते हैं के लिए एम कर रहा हूँ, तो ये क्या है? मेरे को पता ही नहीं क्या है, तो मेरे को इसकी वैल्यू कैसे पता होगी?
नहीं होगी ना. तो जिस चीज की वैल्यू है उसको तो परस्यू करो. Why are you worrying about what you can't understand? There is something you can understand. Pursue that. How can we pursue in the darkness? Your goal has to be your torch. If the goal itself is dark, then what torch are you going to have? So pursue that which you value. Give it some time. Sit down and think about it. Decide for yourself what according to you is valuable. And then pursue that. There's nobody telling you pursue this or that. Who's coming to check who's pursuing what? You pursue what according to you is valuable. But then stick with it. That is what creates character. Not one day I find this valuable, one day I find that valuable. You make your commitment and you stick with that. I don't know if you know all these stories of the sages. They would do tapasya. Charya. I don't know. You read all these stories, right? And they would take Vrataha. They would take some horrible oath that I will do this or I will do that. These are all stories. What is it trying to tell us? It talks about our own commitment to something that we found valuable. We're going to go through it to the end. Now, the best thing to do is to find something which is valuable for life itself, all of life. But not everybody can conceive it like that. Okay, don't worry about what you can't do. Do what you can do. Say, I can't think of anything for the whole of my life. Okay, then can you think of something for the next 1 year? Then you do that, no, for the next 1 year. Don't think कि ये मैं नहीं कर सकता, वो मैं नहीं कर सकता. जो कर सकते हो उतना तो करो.
मैम वो तो मैं वैसे भी करूंगा. जैसे मैम आई ऑलरेडी हैव अ गोल बिफोर कमिंग इन द क्लास, बट अभी क्लास में अभी जितना अपन ने पढ़ा उसमें लिखा था कि क्या कहते हैं, वी आर नॉट एबल टू कम्युनिकेट द वैल्यू ऑफ द सेल्फ टू द स्टूडेंट्स. तो मैम वो तो अभी भी नहीं समझ में आई उसकी वैल्यू. अभी सत्व की वैल्यू समझ आ गई, इक्वानिमिटी और बहुत सारी जो क्वालिटीज क्या कहते हैं गीता में.
सार्थक एक्चुअली नहीं आई, रहने दो उसको. The class told you that it is not able to communicate the value of the self. You say, yes, that is true. It has not communicated the value of the self. I have to do what I find valuable. If I continue with the class, maybe one day I will be able to see the value. It's made a statement of fact. Not seen the value. Correct. Not seen the value. You can't say, I will now force myself to see value. You can't force yourself to see value. How can the child be forced to see the value of marriage? होना ही नहीं है वो. So you don't talk of marriage to the child. You say, you please get past your KG. इतना काम करो. Don't worry about marriage में क्या है और क्या नहीं. The child cannot. It's not possible. So let it be. It's not necessary. That is why it's called Madhya Gita, because the knowledge is so charitable. It says, whatever you're able to do that much. As much as the headlights of your car show, move that much. Don't worry about the rest. Of course, as a matter of knowledge, you must know that I have a long journey ahead of me. That much you have to know. At least that much everybody should be clear. But you do what you can see. Don't go anywhere beyond that. You just do what you can see. All right, so this topic told us about we are all made up of matter and spirit. Our concentration can be on either of these two. What will happen if your concentration is on matter? What happens if it is on spirit? And why we will not concentrate on the spirit is because we don't understand its value. If we understood its value, who needed to teach us anything? Okay, simple topic, right? Now, personality chart. You have already, most of you in the Gita have already studied this portion. It's a direct lift off from the Gita. So I'm assuming this will go fast because you have only recently studied it in another class. So who will start personality chart? Anyone has any questions on this topic? Yes, yeah, Deepika?
Yeah. After people finish their questions, I'll take up the personality chart.
I couldn't hear a single word you
I
said.
said after people take up question, you ask for questions, no ma'am? If they have questions, after that I'll start the personality chart.
Oh, you wanted to read. Okay, fine. Yeah. Anybody has any question on this? Okay, Deepika, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Personality chart. The state of self-realization lies beyond the three mental temperaments known as gunas. Each human is constituted of the three gunas classified as sattva, rajas, and tamas. Tamas is the state of an inactive mind, steeped in inertia, indolence, indifference, the lowest of the three qualities. Rajas is that of vacillating emotion and passionate activity, and sattva, the highest quality of the mind, poised, serene, and equanimous, above worldly passion and excitement. So, this chapter, ma'am, speaks of the gunas of sattva, raja, tama, and that they, it doesn't say it directly, but from what I understood is that it creates a veil over the self or the Atman. Tamas is characterized by inertia and inactivity. Rajas is passion and frenzied activity, restlessness. Sattva is the state of serenity and balance. The ascending order of the qualities of the mind is tamas, rajas, and sattva.
Yes. Now, correct. Good, Deepika. Now, the important thing for us to understand is now why is he talking of tamas, rajas, sattva? Ab ye kaam beech mein aa gaya. If you look at the flow in the whole section, we are now approaching the end of the section. This, what we did was sort of introduction to Vedanta, let us say. Okay, introduction to Vedanta was the section. So what did he tell us? If you go back and you look at the contents page, so in introduction to Vedanta, we have got 8 chapters. The first one was a sort of role of Vedanta. What is Vedanta supposed to do? What is it about? What is it supposed to do? All this kind of stuff we covered in chapter 1. Then the second chapter spoke about the world and the human being. It explained the constitution of the human being, explained what the world was about. You remember that, right? Now, when the world and the human being meet, what happens is life starts. And then what is the course of life? The course of life eventually, if you remember all of that, that there is action, that action has to lead to happiness, and basically it took us to realization, how the course of life should take us to realization. And for that to happen, we need a code of living. Remember what he told us at the physical level, emotional level, intellectual level, he introduced the idea. Then the next 3 chapters gave us a more in-depth understanding of what is that code of living. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. He didn't mention those words, but he explained to us the right way of using the body, the right way of using the mind, and the right way of using the intellect. Now, if you do all these things, the assumption is you will come to the self. So now he's told us in this topic, he told us about, he is talking more and more about the self, as you have noticed in the last topic and in this one, trying to emphasize the fact of realization. Now, a question that will come to us, every one of us will think also, is now, where am I on this whole thing? I don't know. How do I place myself? Where am I? Am I near realization? Am I far away? Am I where? So, as a method of self-assessment, which also he will repeat. Okay, so please understand the system he's using, because he's going to use the system throughout the book. As a method of self-assessment, he's telling us about the personality chart. In the personality chart is a very famous concept from Vedanta, from Sankhya, from Vedanta, which is the concept of the three gunas. This is a way by which we will learn to understand our spiritual growth, to understand where we are. It is not meant to understand where others are. It is meant to understand where we are. Now, to understand where we are, to understand the concept, we may use examples of what other people do, but we have to see that for ourselves. And then from that, figure out two things. Number one, where we are, and number two, which is the area, therefore, that I have to do particular work on. Okay, he told you generally that there's matter and spirit, focus on spirit. General. Now specific. This is where you are, and this is the particular area you may want to look into more. Who is going to tell you which is the particular area for you to look into more?
I myself.
You, yes, yeah.
Correct. But he's giving you how. So he's drawing out a whole personality chart and saying, see, all these things in your personality, which of these areas do you feel you need to put in more work? Okay, so we will do that next time. Okay.
Hari Om Janki ji.
Thank you, Janki ji.
Hari Om Janki ji. Thank
Hari Om.
you.
Hari Om
Janki
Janki
ji.
ji. Thank you.